Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Omo Otomo, and today we're going to bring you the Middle-earth mod pack for Civilization V Brave New Worlds. So I'm going to be showcasing this mod. I wanted to pick this one first because I love Lord of the Rings. I've read the books plenty of times. I've watched the movies more than billions of times, and I'm really excited to play it. I think it'll be a lot better to showcase than the base game. I think people got a handle of that, and I want to start showcasing mods because I think people would come up with amazing ideas. So let's see what I got started right here. I have the map type random. I'm just going to choose that for random for right now. Map size standard, just 8 players, 16 city-states. I mean, that's fine with me. Difficulty level prince. I've only got about 50 hours playtime in Civilization 5, so be alright for right now. Game pace standard, and let's take a look at the civilizations and explain what they are for the lore of Lord of the Rings. So with the start, we have Angamadi, which is the leader of the Umbar. I believe that is the mercenaries that are, like, they're kind of like pirates that were hired by Sauron and influenced to sack Gondor during Return of the King, which I think was the Battle of Pelennor Fields. They were part of that. Aragorn stopped them with the ghosts. I forgot what the ghosts were. They were like sworn to Gondor until they fulfilled the oath, and only the king of Gondor could do that. Sorry. So now we're going into Aragorn, which is the leader of Gondor. It's a human city in Lord of the Rings, and Aragorn is kind of the ruler of Gondor at the end of Lord of the Rings, and at first he was a ranger. He's part of the Dunedain, so he lives for, I think, like hundreds of years, and he was heir to the throne but didn't accept it at first, and eventually became the leader of Gondor. Let's see here. We'll go into more detail later. So we have Azog, for the goblins. Azog was a, believe, very minor character explained in the appendix or similar, something like that. He was super minor. They made him huge in the Hobbit movie. He cuts off the head of Thror, I think his name is. Is that right? Thror, I think is how you pronounce it. And in the book, he's minor. Goblins in Lord of the Rings they're the exact same as orcs. Goblins were explained in The Hobbit first as just like what they were, because they were in old lore back then, because Tolkien took a lot of influence from old mythologies, and then he invented orcs for Lord of the Rings. So it's the same thing. It's like tomato, basically. So Goblin Orcs, same thing. They chose the mod is goblins on here. So Bandobras for the hobbits. I have no idea who this guy is. Probably old leader or founder of the hobbits. I'll find out later, but that's another civilization. Elendor for Arnor. Now Elendil was a descendant of Aragorn, and he led the army of humans and elves against Sauron for the first time when his son cut off the fingers of Sauron with his sword. He died to Sauron. Elrond, the Council of Elrond, he's from Rivendell. He was also in the battle as well. He's like thousands of years old. Elves are immortal. Some elves actually sacrifice their immortality for certain reasons, and in Lord of the Rings, during the Third Age, they leave to the Undying Lands. Camol of the Easterlings, I have no idea who this is, about as clueless as mostly everybody else. Saruman of Isengard. Saruman is a wizard. There are, I believe, 5 wizards that their job is to aid man in the right direction, and he ends up deceiving the council. He's the leader of the council for the wizards. There's, I think, Radagats. There's one other one. Radagats was brown. I think there was a blue one. there was Gandalf the Grey, and there was Saruman the White. Saruman in the books, though, did actually not wear white. He wore, I believe, rainbow garb. I'm a little rusty on that, but yeah, Saruman ends up creating the Uruk-hai, which is the special unit for this civilization. He kind of ties with Sauron, tried to, with the Palantir, they began talking, which is a magical device to communicate, across great distances, and he basically just wants the ring for himself. He doesn't care about the conquest of Sauron. Now, Sauron is the main protagonist in Lord of the Rings, and he is the guy who creates all the rings. That's why he's called the Lord of the Rings. He creates it for the elves, the dwarves, and man, and his ring controls them all and enslaves them. He enslaved all the men when they put it on, a few of the dwarves, and I think none of the elves actually got enslaved. Let's see here. Soladan of Harad, which is, I believe, the mercenaries from the north who controlled the elephants during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Sauron doesn't enslave everybody into orcs. He also has mercenaries and people he influences to fight for his cause. This is one of them during Return of the King. We have Theoden of Rohan. Rohan is it's like the plains and kind of the middle of Middle-earth. And they are horse masters. Shadowfax was actually under the company of Theoden, which is the Lord of all horses. Gandalf ends up taking care of Shadowfax. And Theoden, for a long time, was actually influenced by Wormtongue to do deceiving and just evil things. In the movies, they changed it to where Saruman used a Palantir. That's not how it happens in the book at all. Thranduil, the Sylvan Elves, King of the Woodland Realm. Now, this is the leader of Mirkwood in The Hobbit. And Mirkwood once was a very, beautiful forest that got corrupted with evil because Sauron, for a long time, after he was destroyed, the first time he fled to Mirkwood. And he is the father of Legolas. If I'm right, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Thor the Dwarf, he's the king of Erebor, when Erebor was very rich and it just was thriving, and they were getting too greedy and amassing too much wealth. That's when Smaug came in, the dragon, and took it over and basically almost destroyed this dwarf city and kept all the gold for himself. Smaug is a dragon, has no ties to Sauron. It's just dragons in Lord of the Rings are inherently very evil. That's where actually a lot of the base for most modern games and stuff is for dragons. In D&D, red dragons are chaotic evil, and all they care about is hoarding tons of money, which is heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings. And then last, we have the Witch King of Angmar. Angmar, after Sauron was destroyed, and there was kind of a base in Mordor, Angmar was kind of on the edge of that. It actually got overrun by orcs, and the Nazgul made it basically the home base. Witch King is my favorite antagonist in Lord of the Rings. He has the most amazing kind of backstory to him, and his ending in conflict with certain characters in Lord of the Rings is it's really, really good writing. So he's actually the Lord of the Nazgul, which is one of all of the human leaders that controlled, I think they had 9 rings, were all enslaved, and he was one of them. I don't think there's much lore into which one he was, but obviously he's the most important. Alright, so we are actually going to choose the dwarves, because in fantasy, dwarves is my favorite race. I'll play any dwarf ever. And we are going to get started. Alright. And dwarves, just like any other fantasy game in Lord of the Rings, they don't really care about anything but themselves. They love drinking probably more than any other race, and they just love gold and treasure. And they're very short, they live a while, and alright. So let's see where we are. Okay, so we are actually, this is, so this is the coast, which means this is the ocean. We're actually in a really good spot. We have a lot of jungle here. And we're going to found our city, which is probably going to be Erebor. It's probably not like Moria or something like that, because obviously the leader of the civilization. Alright, so we are actually going to find our city right here. This looks like a good spot. Alright. Alright. And let's see, yeah, it is Erebor. Okay. Alright, so we got Erebor right now. It's served by jungle. We have a couple cocoa. And obviously we have runes right here. We're about to discover that. So let's actually move these guys over here. Alright, runes explored. We actually get population immediately. Alright, that's very good. That's actually good. Alright, so now what we're going to do, I want to start searching out the map and discovering runes as fast as possible. This stuff comes later, calendar and stuff. Don't need to worry about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a scout before I make a monument. So we don't need a culture for our border because I doubt there's going to be any other city kind of near mine. Alright, so let's do that. We're going to choose our research. So let's take a look. We don't have any like stone or anything near us. And even though there's a benefit to mining, we're going to need to chop down these forests though if we want to make wonders really fast. And that's probably a good idea. We'll probably do that first. And then we could go pottery into calendar. So let's do that. Alright. Alright, so there is somebody near us. So what I'm probably going to do, it's a city-state though, so let's discover this first. And we should get 30 gold. Yep, we get 30 golds for first meeting. Kuramo, I have no idea what that is to Lord of the Rings, but I'll be looking this stuff up and explaining it later on, because I would love to find out too. It's a good way to learn more besides just reading the books and the like appendix and stuff. Alright, next turn. And listen to that. So listen to what this mod showcases. This is a group mod. They of course had to have added the movie soundtrack. If not, it would have sucked. So very, very impressed. Let's take a look at the models. So these are the dwarves. Pretty basic. Doesn't look like it was put. They're not like different in any way. There's no different hairstyles or nothing. I mean, they do look like dwarves, but pretty generic, and that's okay. So we're gonna scout around. All right, so next turn. And now Erebor was located obviously in a mountain. We're not next to a mountain, but whatever civilization, you do whatever you want. So we are going to move our guys. Alright, so let's see here. Go this way? Yeah, let's probably do that. Okay. And next turn. Alright, so just a brief thing about dwarves is that they actually, there's the main cities of dwarves. There's not like a lot of them that haven't been just like overrun by orcs or just like something. I mean, most of the time they just end up as like vagabonds or, you know, like Moria for many years was taken by orcs, and Thor actually tried to take back Moria from the orcs, and he actually ended up dying there. And the same thing I think happened with, I think it was Balin. It was like Gimli's cousin. He ended up trying to take it back too, and he died there, and that's where you find out that he dies in Lord of the Rings. Like, it's a death trap for everybody. They never take it back. Alright, so we got a scout. We are actually now going to build a monument. to increase our growth of our city, our borders. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these guys over here. Okay, there's runes, diamond, whale, and crab. Okay, that's a very good spot. So what we should probably do is find runes here and then maybe put a general's... Okay, so we got mining. Alright, let's move this guy over here. Alright, let's choose our research. Alright, so... most likely... Okay, we're gonna do pottery. We have so much cocoa here and wine, and they all require calendars, so we're gonna go pottery. Let's just go here. Oh, 300 gold, nice. Okay, so the faster we get good RNG, the faster we could start maybe getting another civilization starting and just buying a settler. All right, so increase from 3 side to 4 militarants. Now we have 3, so that's good. All right, and of course we're in positive and happiness and gold. Now, let's see here. Sugar. Okay. So let's just keep on moving this guy, clearing the fog war. There's another city-state right there. And over there. Oh, there's a lot of resources. Maybe... I think a good idea would probably just set a city... Like right here, it'd be right next to a river. So it'd be a marsh. And... taking over these, and then I could maybe get a general and steal this guy's cocoa. I mean, he'll be mad for a few turns, but whatever. Alright, so next turn. And we haven't discovered any civilizations yet, so when we do, we'll start explaining their lore a little bit more. So, Dorwinian, or Dorwinian, I have no idea what that relates in Lord of the Rings or any of the books. So I'll be finding this stuff out later. It's interesting. I think most of these city-states are just like... I don't know. I think they're just like briefly explained in Lord of the Rings and that's about it. I mean, that's cool though that they still add the names. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just let this guy scout. We're just going to chill like right here for right now. Alright, a lot of resources, and we're in a lot of jungle areas too. Alright. Let's go see. Hopefully I don't run into Sauron. Let's put this guy right here. And then I'll probably just put him on alert. Next turn. Yeah, so Thor is the father of Thorin Oakenshield of The Hobbit. He's the guy that takes back the Lonely Mountain. And alright, so this here. I didn't really like the Hobbit movies that much, but they did a really good job with Thorin in the movies. He had a lot more. I guess he was more dimensional than in the book. I don't really like the Hobbit book. It's like I don't know. It's to me, even though it's like canon, I don't know. I just kind of see Lord of the Rings like the meat and potatoes of Middle Earth. All right, so we got a granary. So I think that's all we could travel. Really? Can't. I think that's blocked though. Yeah. We'll cut through or whatever. Okay, we're gonna move back about 9 turns. Let's just move right up right now. Alright, so now we are going to get, let's see here. We're gonna get calendar. I think will be very good. We got cocoa. We want to increase our happiness to get golden ages. So, maybe sailing too. Here's a calendar. I really want to see what kind of units there are. I don't know how they're... I haven't really researched much into that for the mod pack for Lord of the Rings for this, but... next turn. Still haven't seen anybody. It probably won't until we get sailing and start meeting each other. It looks like there's somebody down here, where it's like a lot of islands. Yeah, it looks like that. Gotta cover the Fog of War a lot more. Okay. So now, yes, we're obviously going to build a worker first. 17 turns, and we have 8 for calendars. So, in about 17 turns, then we'll start doing the cocoa, and then our borders will probably expand out a little bit later, and we'll pick up that wine as well. Then we could also start trading this stuff. And apologies for the lag sometimes during different turns. For some reason with this game, no matter what, it always does that for next turns. I guess like when it loads up, it just totally wrecks everything. We definitely want to put a city right here though. And we're going to end up taking a general and putting it here when we adopt a new policy. So let's allow this to load real fast. Alright, that's good. Alright, Erebor has grown, so now it's going to take this as for its next tile, I believe. Let's move around. Alright, so now we have a new policy. What we're going to do... let's see here. We're probably going to do honor. No, I don't see any barbarians though. We're probably going to do tradition, then we're going to go into honor, and then we're going to get the Great General to take the city-state stuff. They'll get mad for a little bit, but whatever. They're not trying to win the game. Alright, yeah, that's good one. Alright. Alright, we're going to go with tradition. And next turn. Alright, so let's make our guy right there. So we got all the runs. He'll be mad at us for a second. Oh, I should just press
one military unit.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why the turn that stuff off and still doesn't work anyway. Let's just go this way. Now we're going to cut right here. And we're just going to cut again, move down south, trying to see if anything's down here, anything worthwhile. Alright, so we're the first one to meet Torkangol, which means that there's no other civilization down here. Militaristic, their personality is irrational. Okay. And we get gold, so we're at 264 plus 4. Not bad. A lot of city-states. Alright. So that's good.
So teach us to number our days, so that we may apply our hearts unto
Workers allowed to construct plantations. Alright, so this is good. We're gonna get our worker, and then we're gonna start getting all those resources. And then we could definitely start trading and meet other civilizations. So let's see here. What do we have next to us? I don't know if there are any horses near us. I doubt it. We're gonna get the temple first. No, yeah, we'll get the Temple of Artemis. We have a lot of jungle. We're just gonna clear that and build it, and that should be really good. Okay, so now I want to build the Artemis. So what I'm gonna do is get aristocracy. Sorry, 50% production with building wonders and 1% happiness for every 10 citizens of the city. We're gonna be building a couple cities, so that's actually pretty good. Let's pick up that. See, the great thing about civilization is it's really flexible. The people who like shiny things the most. Of course I do. I'm a damn dwarf. Why wouldn't anybody else? Silly game. Anyway, so let's move down here. Ooh, truffles. We're probably gonna build some around here. I wonder if the next city's Moria. I don't know. The long dock of Moria. Alright, so now we're at... Okay, so we just broke through 3000 BC. Man, there is a lot of stuff here. We definitely need to get some... Oh man, 280 and 500 for... 500 for me, sellers. Let's move down here. Alright, next turn. We're just going to keep them on the defensive. Alright, so let's move over. Nope, nothing over here. Alright, so there is a mountain. And this is the end of this map. This looks like Africa, but there's no like Europe or Asia or anything. So this is a weird map. Okay, we're definitely gonna put civilization down here. The only thing is like, man, probably gonna have to build a lot of naval ships to defend it. Oh wow, right at the bottom too. Oh wow, somebody already worshipped a pantheon. Okay.
After the arrow had been feathered with one of the eagle's own.
Alright, so now I have archery. Now we're going to build the temple. We're going to get our worker. We're going to plant our... excuse me one second. We're going to plant our... Or make our... I think you put the plantations for the cocoa and stuff. And then get a lot of happiness. And that's probably going to generate a lot of gold as well. Always a good thing. Let's go here. Alright, and we got advanced unit.
You now have a ranged unit.
Okay, dwarf archers now. But I think they're reduced in movement compared to like scouts. I am not sure. Well, let's see here. Okay, I don't know how I want to just win with battle or just like be super greedy and win that way. I don't know. Science maybe? I definitely want to get the step. Yeah, we're probably going to just start... Let's open up the technology tree and take a look. So we could get archery, or I mean that's what we got first. Right? Yeah, so we just finished it. So now archery. Yeah, let's do animal husbandry, and then we could start maybe working on a water mill because we're right next to a river. Okay, that's a good idea. So let's do animal husbandry. And we'll reveal horses too. We might get lucky and they might be somewhere over here or something. Alright. I'm gonna move this guy right here. And let's see. Alright, so it's a little bit wild for the first video of this playthrough. We are going to be looking at what this means for part 2, or what the cities are related to Lord of the Rings. So we have Kuramo, and we have Dorwinion, and we have Torek Ungol. I assume this is probably an orc related one. But alright, looks like we are set. Let's put our production here. And we are going to build a granary. Well, we don't really weird anything. Or a temple. You know, we're gonna go ham with this. We're greedy as dwarves, and so we're gonna go temple, then we're gonna have our worker just cut everything down. Dwarves don't care about trees, they care about money. And I am all about the money. So, alright. This is it for part 1, and I will see you guys in part 2.